I guess January is the month of special editions and wonderful Black women as main characters in literature. Greetings, royalty. My name is Olivia, and welcome back to my realm, or more specifically, my chaotic, cozy-ish castle library situation. Have you been able to take down your Christmas decorations yet? If you celebrate Christmas, I have not, so that is going to be a project for this weekend for sure. But with that said, let's just get started on my January 2026 TBR. That feels like a fake year. Now, apologies in advance if my dogs make any mess, or actually more like bark, during the video, and sorry for the super close-up shot as well. The rest of the cozy room is not yet put together, so that's why we're using this really tight angle, kind of showing off my special editions as well. So let's just get started, as I said, because I love to yap. I feel like this year I've already had a lot of renewed energy, and one of the promises among many I'm making to myself is to get these videos up during the month I record them, because I think I got up maybe half, so 6 of my reading wrap-ups and my TBRs in 2025, and we're not going to let that happen this year. Fingers crossed. So I have 7 books on my TBR for 2026 to start out. In 2025, that TBR was so disastrous because I think I maybe read 1 book off of it. I read a lot of books that month, but nothing on that TBR. So let's hope as well that this TBR actually pans out with me actually reading the books on the TBR. I think I am going to do like a reaction video that will also, kind of inspire me to edit those videos I didn't get up on the channel, and kind of compare I believe the final number was 104 books I read, how many of them were actually from my TBR videos. But again, I'm yapping, I can't help it. So let's start with book 1 on my January 2026 TBR, and that is Our Vicious Oaths by N.E. Davenport, who also wrote the Blood Trials duology. But this is a standalone high fantasy romantasy between 2 enemy fae of these like rival kingdoms. And from what I remember, the male fae character kidnaps our girl Kadisha and takes her to this like wintry setting as a prisoner of war. But obviously, enemies to lovers, love sparks between them. I picked this book because, very excitingly, I joined kind of like a Black girl meetup group here in the state I live in, and they didn't have a book club, and I pitched, hey, let's start a book club featuring Black women, and they were down for it. So on January 29th, we're gonna have our very first book club, and this is the pick for January. I picked it because everyone seemed to like spice, Black female author, and also it kind of had a bit of a wintry setting, so it kind of matched the season as well. So I'm really excited for this one. I have finished maybe I want to say 10 pages in audiobook format. So whenever I lose the audiobook, if I don't read the audiobooks together because I am dyslexic, typically I will either just listen to the audiobook solo, or if I must, I will also read the print solo. But I tend to prefer, for thicker books like this, to listen to the audiobook and read it side by side so I can read a little bit faster. No matter what, I do plan to finish this book, and I've already started. I've actually finished 1 book this month already, and I'm on my way to finishing 3 more. So I didn't feature them on the TBR because, well, I'm pretty much almost done with them. And I also want to show off, not only did I get this copy signed, which was hashtag Shadow Daddy, when I went to the inaugural Black Romance Book Festival in 2025. That was amazing. Because I pre-ordered it, I got these art prints that are so gorgeous. You can't really see the foiling on it, but there's like silver foiling on them. Well, not all of them, but actually, no, I think all of them, because the moon on here is kind of glittery, and they're just so pretty. I absolutely adore them, and I mean, they're 2 hotties together, so really, how can I get mad? The next book on my TBR is actually something I'm very excited to read. It is a Kickstarter edition I just found on a whim by a new publisher called Bone Dust Press. This is their very first book they put out, and it is called The Traitor and the Wretch, written by Jasmine Walls and illustrated by Rowan MacColl. I really am having kind of a struggle saying names and talking right after work for some reason. This one also has this really pretty, I think it's called debossed when it's kind of indented into the cover, silver foiling, if you can see that. And then the other really cool thing about it is that it is illustrated. So if you can see right here, this is one of the illustrations in the book. Because I think it was like a print run, the book is also kind of really stiff compared to most books. And so I'm treating it very delicately because I kind of have to break in the spine a little bit, kind of like was a new journal. But all that said, I think the best way to summarize this book is the back cover summary that says, in a world of prophecies and heroes, who cares about the henchmen? I always love a book that travels the road untraveled. Thinks about POVs that haven't been done before. Like, for example, it's not like the newest thing ever, right? But I love that the new Predator movie, if you watch that one, was in the POV of a predator, right? That is a different angle to always having a human POV, right? And I really like stories that don't follow the villains, which is a big craze right now, or just the heroes all the time. And so this features Nell, who is a cultist for like this chaos demon lord. And we also have Percy, who is a disillusioned hero who tried to kill like the big prophesized hero in this story. And these two get together and try to survive and also find love on the journey as well. This just seems like the type of book I would love. And so I'm really excited to get started. And I love an illustrated edition. I feel like, what was that book so many years ago when I was a child, I read it. Was it like Hugo Carbet, I think? But it was an illustrated novel, and it really kind of just, like, I don't know, a lot of my life, I think, changed reading that book. I got into visual novels. I got into illustrated novels like this as an adult. I always just loved the combination of art and literature. And so even if this story didn't seem like it was up my alley, I probably would just appreciate it for being an illustrated novel for adults. Next up is a book that I actually have an ebook and audiobook because I got the ebook free and then the audiobook was like 99 cents. So yay me. And I really, really, really loved her Omegaverse series. So I figured why not get the special edition, because as you can see, I love special editions, even though I typically buy used if it's an author I like, or especially Black heroines, I'll just be honest, I tend to like to get special editions too. That would be The Bone King and the Starling by Elizabeth Stevens. So this is very like different, I would say. It has a lot of the tropes of, if you were into the old school historical romances, you have like a Viking-like hero in a historical setting, essentially kidnapping the heroine. And in this setting, she is a thrall, which is a different type of servitude / slavery. It's not like chattel slavery in the United States, which was not like biologically based. All your children's children will become slave and are born slaves. Just to give some context. And I'm especially giving context because if you're a Black reader like me, I was kind of on this book because even though the author is biracial and I've loved her other works, the heroine in this story is actually a Black woman. So I was kind of like, but from what I have heard, at least, it's handled pretty well. And so I figured I will give it a try because I do love historical romances. I do love when they feature Black heroines. I'm kind of iffy on the situation, but you know what? I'm going to give it a chance. This special edition also has sprayed edges, and you see it says, "Come, little bird." On the back, it says, "I may be your king, but it is I who bends the knee." The special edition is actually so gorgeous. So if you see here, this is the gold detailing. And then on the back, you have more gold detailing, which is super cool. I also have, what's his name? King Kale's little bird. I'm going to pick up the names later. But as you can see, I have an axe sticker. I got a, what do they call them? Vellum that goes inside, but this also came with an art print. So I'm going to use that for journaling because I love using art for journaling. It is signed, so that is really sweet. And she always puts like a little message. So this one says, Olivia Kenkale calls. So I thought that was pretty cool. Last thing I will point out about this book that's just like the physical things about the book, because like I said, she is taken to the Bone King. He spots her, I think, like in a town somewhere and like takes her as a thrall, is that the interior is illustrated. So you can have a reversible cover, and I will probably flip it out. I like to flip out covers like this one right here. But because it doesn't have anything on the spine to tell the name of it, whereas I Married a Naga does, I may keep it this way, but we'll see. I guess January is the month of special editions and wonderful Black women as main characters in literature, because what is this, 4th book? Yes, it is already. On my TBR for January is Mage Bride, the first book in the Betrayed Bride series by Angela J. Ford. Now, she was someone that kind of got on my radar because she wrote Black women and she wrote sweet romances, aka she had fade to black or non-spicy material. I actually like to read the spectrum of spice. I actually started out, a running joke around my writing friends is that I actually started out reading completely what they call clean and inspirational romance, and specifically a lot of Amish romance as well. I still like it. I love Hallmark, for example. And so though a lot of my writing these days, especially my writing, but a lot of the literature I read in romance is not sweet, I was kind of searching for an author who wrote Black women and sweet romances, and I stumbled across Angela J. Ford. Now, I'm pretty sure her entire catalog is sweet and epic fantasy, but don't quote me on that. Always, read the description and read any of the warnings inside the book. Now, with this one, I picked it because I actually got through, you're hearing stuff fall, which is not a good sign. I got to page 129 of this story last year. I really enjoyed the story, but because I read so much, sometimes I'll just put down a book and legitimately I'll just forget it exists. Not because I didn't like the story, because obviously I was reading this and enjoying it. But I just forget. And I was trying to pick out my TBR, and I was like, oh my God, I should really finish this because I did enjoy it. And that's kind of how I've already read / am close to finishing so many books this month already, because I'm just kind of picking stuff that I was already reading. So with this one, this is another special edition, another gorgeous one that has some elements I will show you. But the basic story here is Farah is like a mage / mage bride, right? And she did magic that is highly forbidden in her society, and she is basically forced into an arranged marriage with Lord Rhyme, who is a part of this isolated kingdom that aren't at war with her people, but kind of just, they don't mess with them, really. And so that's where I ended the story. I can't say much more because I will literally spoil so much, because you kind of get where this is going, basically, pretty early on in the story. But I was, like I said, really enjoying it. It has a beautiful, beautiful cover. In the back, it says she's a powerful mage. He's a hardened warrior. It will take them both to slay a monster. Because that's also part of the plot that is actually important to note. They need the mage brides in a society that kind of rejects magic and rejects their way of life, because they need the brides to help them slay a monster that is like kidnapping people in their society. So it's a bit of a mystery angle going on as well. The actual hardcover itself is to die for. It is so pretty. It is raised gold foiling, so like you can kind of feel it. And I love how tactile that is. On the back is another beautiful design as well. And then you have the spine going on here. Inside, you have just like kind of illustrations, black and white illustrations for the chapter headers. You have another beautiful little element that says, I want you to stay, which I'm assuming is going to be Lord Ram in the story. And this is the bookmark, which I'm about to slip back in so I don't lose my place. I don't have an audiobook or anything, so I was just reading this novel like after work, really. It was really nice. It is signed by the author because I did buy this direct from her website. Has the interior illustration again. And then what else? What else? Oh, vellums. I have a couple of vellums in here. There's an ending illustration. I think I will show you all too. I just thought it was very sweet. Like very, very cute. Cutesy. Winter Kiss, if you could make that out at all. And okay, here are the vellums. So this is the first vellum of Farah on like this like yak-like creature. And there's like flying animals in the book too. I've been really enjoying the world building in this story. And then reaching down quickly, the vellum of Lord Rhyme. So you can see that as well. If you don't know, I'm a sucker for art. I love art. So anytime an author can include a special edition with art, I am pretty much already 50% sold. And then the last things that came was like this special edition book box that she did for it. Is that it does have a really nice candle. I'm loving the scent of this. And I think I'm going to pop it open and finish it off while I'm reading. And then it's like a nutmeg scent. It's nice actually. And then a bit of tea in a mug that says sip, savor, read, repeat. Well, it's a beautiful winter design. So I think I shall sip, savor, read, and maybe repeat the novel at another time. All right, I definitely am going to have special edition in this video's title or subtitle because I have another special edition I want to read that has a kind of wintry setting. So I was kind of going with winter romantasy, winter magic to tie together a lot of these stories and stories that I either started or kind of just had that vibe, right? And so we have A Cursed Sun by Leitao. I believe that's how you say her last name. Could be off. I'll check the audiobook because I have the audiobook of this because I also backed this on Kickstarter. So I guess crowdfunding will be part of the subtitle as well. This is the book 1 in the Remnants of the Fallen Kingdom series. And by the time this video gets up, I think the Kickstarter for the third and final book in the trilogy will still be ongoing if you want to try to pick it up. It has gorgeous sprayed edges that look like a night sky that get a little dimmer and then darker as you go around the spine, which is like really cool in my opinion. It also has a beautiful interior end pages by artists I've actually used for my own stories. I actually found them through this special edition, so I'm really thankful for the author for that because I thought they were so beautiful. I went and commissioned them. This is the hardcover, which is absolutely gorgeous, showing you one of the end papers. The back end paper is just unicorn purple magic starlight celestial design of my dream, to be honest. And I don't know if you can see, but right here is that unicorn I just mentioned. It has beautiful chapter headers of the main characters, and it actually has, I think, 2 ribbon book marks. Let me check. Or it looks like it only has 1, but I also did get this tassel bookmark during the Kickstarter campaign. I also do actually have a lot of art from this campaign, but this really wasn't like an unboxing video or wasn't meant to be, so I'm not going to bring all that out. But it says, seduce me, torture me, enemies to lovers. So this is another enemies to lovers. Enemies to lovers is typically not my thing, but there's just something about this. I wanted to give it a try. I have a little, what do they call it? Book plate from the author because she's Canadian, so couldn't really pay to get it signed, but she did ship the book plate along with it, which I thought was really cool. And this story features Astra, who is a royal decoy who replaces the princess to marry Malik in like their marriage and like pretends to be her. But before she can get there, get to the Crystal Court, the disgraced prince, I messed up there. Malik is not the prince she's going to marry. Malik is the disgraced prince that attacks her carriage and does like a kidnapping before she is married off. And they kind of have a soulmate bond as well. So I am hopeful that this is going to be an A+ read. I've had it just kind of kicking around for a little bit because I was reading so much in general, and at that time, like, Kickstarter books kind of come in when they come in, and when I got it, I wasn't in the mood to read it at that time. The other thing I really like about this is that it is a reversible dust jacket again, and so you have the art that is featured on the chapter headings right here. You have just this beautiful art as well. And then it says, love makes you strong, not weak. And trust your heart, my heart's crazy. Which I just thought was funny. So that is A Cursed Sun. I am hopeful that I actually think most of these reads will not fall below a 4 to maybe even 5-star for me. But we shall see, because I like enemies to lovers, but I don't love enemies to lovers. So we will see if they can convince me between the spectrum of spicy and sweet to love enemies to lovers romance. The 6th book on my TBR is not an enemies to lovers, but it might as well be, and it is Accidentally Wedded to the Werewolf by Isabelle Taylor. Now, this is a very exciting read because it's a part of another book club, essentially, which is Romanceopoly's 2026 challenge. Yes, I am going back to school, but romance school this year. In this challenge, it's like really cool. They have all these rules, and I'll be going over it when I do a big update to my reading journal in 2026. And in the back, I already have my Romanceopoly board that I'll show you really quickly from 2025. And they kind of did a cozy town theme. And in 2026, they're kind of capitalizing on the personal curriculum trend and doing a university. So I just think that's so cool. But I'll go over all the rules for the reading challenge and all that stuff when I'm doing the big update video. But for now, this book is part of one of their study sessions that they host on Fable and also their Discord. It's essentially like a book club. That's all it is. They pick books and we try to read it together each month during the year-long challenge. And Isabelle Taylor's book was the first book they picked. Now, this one has 3 things I really love. Forced proximity, Alaska, because even though I only visited the state once, I actually really enjoyed it, and werewolves. So I feel like it's going to be a good read. It's a new to me author. And in this story, Luna Stack, which is a very on the nose name, is a spoiled heiress that ends up like snowed in, my favorite trope of all time, in this remote town in Alaska called Clawhaven. And in Clawhaven, through magical potion means, ends up made it to, you guessed it, Werewolf, who runs the inn that she has to stay in. And though she's not married, she's basically married. I feel like this premise is very cozy, it's very cutesy, it's a very brain-off romance. And given that I am going to be reading something very not romance for the final book on this list, which is kind of out of place now, I feel like this is just going to be a nice cherry on top when things get a little too rocky with the other kind of harder hitting reads and harder hitting romance I'll be reading in January. And the 7th and final book on my list is not a romance, so maybe the subtitle will also just say Black literature, and that is Build the Damn Thing by Kathryn Finney. This is a business book, actually, and it's going to be part of what I am going to be launching soon in this channel, which is my year-long personal curriculum self-development courses that are combining books and budgets / personal finance and personal finance literature, essentially. I really want to get a handle on my money in 2026 because that economy is crashing harder than it already was. So I really don't want to be in a situation again where if I lose my job, like I have no savings or, God forbid any of those situations happen again. And so this is really going to help me with my goal in 2026, which is creative entrepreneurship and basically launching a stationery shop and building back my bookish business to where it was making me a healthy part-time income and hopefully even more than that in 2026. So Build the Damn Thing is really a business book, but it's really catered to people that are in the subtitle. This is not me saying it, rich white men. So basically building a successful business with the inherent barriers that come with being a woman, being a Black woman, and all of the things like that. I just feel like I just would love to get back to basics, get back to foundational topics when it comes to business. Because as someone that has been doing my self-employment taxes and all that stuff for many, many years, I feel like since the pandemic, things have gone so curvy for me that I just need to get back to basics. And so I feel like Build the Damn Thing will get me back into that headspace. It is part of actually a long list of books that are going to be on my spring 2026 TBR. But see all the books I'm trying to read. I'm not trying to read all of those in January. So I just picked one thing to focus on as I pivot and hopefully build the damn thing. Well, that was it. I hope you enjoyed my January 2026 TBR. I have these beautiful physical books I want to finish / the audiobook editions when I have them, and I cannot wait to get Romanceopoly and my other reading challenges this year and just kind of do like an update video for my reading journal as well. So with all that said, thank you as always for watching. Distinguished guests, if this is your first time here, like and subscribe. I do bookish and lifestyle content, so you're always going to see some type of stationery and some type of lifestyle update from me on this channel. And if you're royalty and you're sticking with me in the new year, I love that you're still here. Well, until next time, bye!